Somebody go pick R. Kelly up off the floor. Hey everybody, it's Old School Heart back with another cultural conversation for you. So if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please hit the subscription button down below. Please also turn on your notifications. That way you're able to know when my videos come out. I usually do them on Wednesday or Thursday. So please be looking out for a new cultural conversation video on Wednesday or Thursday. And I have something coming up really soon that I cannot wait to share with you guys. So please stay tuned to this channel. Make sure the notifications are on and share my videos, guys. Share my videos on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram if you can. So y'all, let's get to R. Kelly. We all know that R. Kelly did an interview with Gayle King yesterday on CBS this morning. It was a two-part interview. Yesterday, R. Kelly spoke, and today his two women, wives, girlfriends, whatever you want to call them, they spoke. You had the parents of JoyceLynn who spoke yesterday after R. Kelly's interview. So there has been a lot going on. And so I just want to have a cultural conversation about it. So R. Kelly does this interview with Gayle King, and it is a total mess. It is terrible to look at. It almost makes you want to just turn the TV off because it just was chaotic. It was chaotic. R. Kelly wasn't very good at focusing. He didn't answer any of the questions that Gayle King asked. And so we all are left with the idea of what was the reason for R. Kelly to do the interview in the first place. If he's not really going to answer any of the questions, if he's just going to scream and shout and cry, then there is no reason to even do the interview. Gayle King asked him very direct questions. Do you have a sex cult? You really would think that I would just have one, huh? I'm just locking girls up, and the only way that I'm letting them out is so they can go get some shoes at their uncle's house. I'm just going to let people out to go get shoes at their uncle's house. I mean, think. R. Kelly, when we think it is possible, it's possible with your notoriety, with your talent. The ability to possess and have possession over somebody's mind is something that can happen. It's not uncommon for it to happen. I mean, look at the people who drank the juice, drank the Kool-Aid. Look at the people, the black people, all those black people who drank the Kool-Aid. Look at the 12 people who put their Nikes on and said they was gonna meet T and Doe in another galaxy. I mean, R. Kelly, it's possible for you to do this. Not only is it possible for you to do it, it's not uncommon since you've done it before. We're not gonna act like just because you weren't accused in a court of law that you didn't do it. That's almost like saying, oh man, Trayvon Martin's killer didn't kill him because he won in the court of law. Like he killed him and he intentionally killed him. There is no way around that. So R. Kelly, yes, it is possible to believe this. And yes, even though you've had 30 years in the business, as you so eloquently screamed and cried it out, yes, you can have 30 years in the business and it all go down the drain by what you've done and what you've been doing. So R. Kelly, it's common for people like you to gain possession over a young person's mind. It's common for any male to gain possession over a young girl's mind. Just by repetition, just by doing certain things. So R. Kelly, when you act like we're all dumb, we're not all dumb. We know that there's evidence out there. Half of us have seen the tape. I personally have seen the tape, and we all know it to be true. So to sit there and act like this just is a farce Anything can be made up online. And you're right, anything can be made up online. It can go from one place to another place to another place. But not only has it been made up online, but you have been accused in a court of law, not one time, but many times. You have 6 allegations that went through court, and you settled with those 6 individuals. Not to mention, you have the Aaliyah marriage. The license is out there. It's out there for everybody to see. There is just proof through the years that this is the things that you do. Yeah, you may not have locked up every woman. I don't believe you locked up Andrea like that. But I believe there were some women in your possession that you had a hold on, and you were able to do absolutely anything that you want. So this interview was quite frustrating for me. And then today we had his 2 girlfriends who did an interview with Gayle King. You had Azriel and JoyceLynn who did an interview. Now, I know for sure that even if CBS asked these 2 women to do an interview, they did not have to. I believe R. Kelly let them do an interview. And I think he did it to save some kind of face or to prove some type of point. Number one, the ladies that he used probably did come to him after turning 18. So these women, of course, are of age. They can't speak on anything other than them being of age. Those 2 women probably were of age. Now, Azriel, there it's a little sketchy because Azriel is 21 now. She says 4 years. So when you say Azriel 4 years, do you mean that you've been with him since 19, 20, 21? You only been with him for 3 years? Or was it before then? So there's a little sketchiness about Azriel. But JoyceLynn was in college when she met R. Kelly. She wanted to be a singer. And so JoyceLynn's story is a little bit different. But this interview was a mess as well. And there was no need for it anyway. Because these are 2 grown women who are choosing willingly to be with R. Kelly. So for me, I'm just like, why are we having this interview? And I believe that it more so had to do with saving face for R. Kelly than it had to do about anything else. What I did not like is Azriel's attitude. She was the most rehearsed, she was the most ready, and she was the most defensive. And my thing is this: if your love is so free, if your love is welcoming with R. Kelly, then I believe that there is no reason absolutely to have been defensive. Even at the question that Gayle asked when she said, are you guys all together, or is this like a separate thing and you guys do your own thing with each other? I'm not here to talk about my little personal life. Ma'am, I don't know if you've been looking online or what you've heard, but these are questions that everybody wants to know. And Gayle is asking the questions that everybody wants to know. This should be nothing new to you, mama. This should be nothing new to you, mama. You made it new to you, mama. So don't sit there and act like she can't ask you questions that everybody really wants to know. Now, here's the thing. What you do in your bedroom is your business. But the fact of the matter is, there have been allegations of him making you guys do sexual things with each other, even though you don't want to. So you may have seen the question as embarrassing and how dare she, but these are questions and allegations that are already out there. Answer the question, mama. If you don't like it, you shouldn't even been interviewed. Azriel got on my last nerve. Then she wanted to fake cry. Oh, my parents are just awful people. And it just was like, even if my daddy was that awful, to not have a conversation with him or anybody in the family, nor to not see them for a couple of years, raises a lot of suspicion. So even if you do have family members that's asking R. Kelly for money and asking R. Kelly for money, asking R. Kelly for money, if they haven't talked to you, how was they able to get to him? How was they able to get any information on him, send him all of these letters to threaten you? You don't have any proof and you don't bring it with you. How do you not bring proof of all of this with you? But you think I'm supposed to believe your tears? No, mama. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. JoyceLynn was the same way. Yes, it's the same way. My parents are trying to contact me and I just don't want any part of it. I looked at the parents' interview and the sister was there and the little sister was there. What I found to be quite shocking is that JoyceLynn threw her whole family away. So not only was it mom and dad, who she said played a big part in the reason why she's not talking, because they keep asking him for money, and JoyceLynn's family's been asking for money. But what does that have to do with your two younger siblings? I would be really astonished if the 11-year-old little sister that JoyceLynn has is asking for money and is begging for money and writing R. Kelly for money. So I could understand maybe breaking the relationship between your parents, but you broke it with your little sister and your sister. And then not only that, what raises even more suspicion is that the family does the interview, and we come to find out that your grandfather has died, who you were very, 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 very close to, and you do not attend the funeral. And your grandmother is going online and begging you to actually be a part of this because your grandfather hadn't seen you, and you hold a place in his heart, and here he has passed, and you don't go. Something about that raises a lot of suspicion. And so there we go. Those were the two interviews, and it just was just like chaotic, and it just really worked my nerves, y'all. And I was really annoyed at R. Kelly. I was really annoyed at Azriel. But this does give us an opportunity to have a cultural conversation, because my question becomes, if you are guilty, is there a length of time you can be held accountable? And that's the one thing that I'm wondering with this. And the one thing that I oppose about this R. Kelly thing is that they trump up these charges because of what was being said in the media, the Lifetime movie that came out, and everybody's disgust at R. Kelly. I believe that some of these charges are trumped up because of that. I think that the city of Chicago or the FBI decided to finally take notice on some of these cases and finally come up with a charge, which I really feel is illegal to do. Do I feel like R. Kelly needs help? Yes, I do feel like R. Kelly needs help. But I do feel also that what they're doing is almost like what they're doing with Bill Cosby. They heard all of these allegations. They couldn't pull anything on anybody. So we got one that just may work, that's in the period of time that we can foster up. So, he has, 20 charges, 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse to a minor. So we'll see how this goes. We know that he's in jail now because he didn't pay child support. So you have that going on as well. So that was one of the things that was bothering me the most, is that how are they trumping up these charges now? He also has to deal with not paying child support. So, I mean, it's just funny how this is all coming along, even though it's slowly been gathering since the one young lady did the interview on The Real. It's been slowly coming along, but everything seemed to escalate as the Lifetime movie premiered. Another thing that I have a problem with is this whole idea of making sure that the parents are accountable. Like JoyceLynn's parents said, JoyceLynn was of age. They didn't hand their child to him. She is of age. And so if she decided that she wants to be in love with with R. Kelly, she actually has the right to be. So, I mean, there are certain rumors that are out there that really make no sense. And like JoyceLynn's sister said, if you're going to accuse us of handing our child to them, then there are a lot of women that have been handed to him. Lady Gaga is one of them. Keke Palmer worked with him at one point. So you can't just pick and choose who you feel it should be held responsible. As far as these parents pushing their children on him, as R. Kelly said, more so for music purposes did they feel comfortable in dealing with him. I don't believe that they all thought that it would end up in a romantic relationship. And I think what has happened is that that's what they assumed it was going to be, was just music. but not really making the distinction that for R. Kelly, music and intimacy go hand in hand. And not only that, the age of the child goes hand in hand, or the young lady goes hand in hand. So, I mean, did they make a mistake on that part? Yes. Are some of these women lying? I do believe that to be true. But the accountability goes still to R. Kelly, because at the end of the day, is it right for him to have done it? And the answer to that will always be no, it was not right for him to do it, even if some of these young ladies were handed to you. How dare you say, well, the parents gave okay, even if a parent gave them to you, where is it in your mind that you shouldn't be doing stuff like this? You have no authority or any right to be doing this with younger women. You can do what you want with older women. You have the right to. But we're saying the younger women is the problem. Another issue that I had, and this will be the end, but another issue that I had is the record executives, the people at Sony. Those people, to me, should be held accountable. I was thinking about something earlier today. Do you guys recall the episode? No, not the episode. The movie Ray, where Ray was charged with possession of cocaine, I believe. I think he was doing cocaine or heroin. He had gotten off once before, and then there was a big charge where he had the heroin with him, and he went out of country with it. And then you see him, he's all happy and screaming, and B comes in the room, and she's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "They dropped the charges, man. Somebody got him to drop the charges from my record label." And B was like, "You still have a problem. You still got to deal with the issue." And I correlate that with R. Kelly. The record executives probably knew from the get-go that there was an issue with R. Kelly. They may not have known to the extent, but they did know that R. Kelly had a terrible issue. And I believe they covered that up because during the 90s and the early 2000s, you couldn't touch R. Kelly. You couldn't touch the music that he was making, the songwriting abilities, who he was working with. You couldn't touch I Believe I Could Fly. So I believe they did one of these numbers. I believe they protected him. I believe they paid off people. I believe they made people shut up. I believe there were a lot of things that they did. And so if anybody should be held accountable, it's all the record executives at Sony that let them do it. And I believe they let him do it because they have possession of the music. So we need him to keep on giving us money, keep on giving us money, keep on making these really big theatrical songs that pay us out, because we already know R. Kelly doesn't have half of his masters. And so they get the reward of this. And so I definitely have a problem with these record executives and just how nasty and grimy this all looks. Also, one of the things that I do want to say, and then we'll get back into the cultural discussion. One of the things that I wanted to say is, had we had dealt with R. Kelly inside as Black people, had we held him accountable, had we threatened him, had we shown a sense of unity with each other, and just let it be known to R. Kelly that this type of behavior cannot happen to our girls, there would have never been a Lifetime movie. There would have never been the CBS interview. There would have never been these charges that he has. We have to hold some type of accountability to this. As consumers, we still bought the music after the first allegation. We still went to the concerts. We still looked at that video. I know personally, I was 15 or 16 when it came out. I looked at the video. We all need to be held responsible for not showing any type of correction or giving any type of correction to R. Kelly. And so this is the result of that, right? This is the result of all of that. And I believe that we have to take accountability for that. So as we say, oh, don't bring him down, and stop kicking him when he's down. Don't try to correct him. Don't do this. Don't do that. This is a shame that they want to bring a Black man down, and he's not the face of molestation. He's not the face of rape. And you're right, he is not the face of rape. We know that white men are the face of rape. They created it. We know through history that they are the number one abusers of it. But had we took responsibility, had we protected these women, even outside of them having a family that may not have done a good job, we should have done a good job. And we should say, R. Kelly, stop. There are grown women that will do whatever you want. To these women. I think that if we came from that standpoint, we would have never had the problems that we did. And so I will have to say, we have to hold ourselves accountable. And if we want to buy black and do black and be black, then justice needs to be black as well. And we need to hold those people who need to be called out responsible, and we need to take care of them. And however you want to take care of them is how we do take care of them. But we needed to do that as a black community. So back to the cultural question, and I want you to leave your comments below. I want you to share this video. The question is, if you are guilty, is there a length of time you can be held accountable for that? What's our length of accountability? Does accountability always stay there? So should R. Kelly be charged and sent away? I believe he should. But what do you guys believe on that? Should he be held accountable now? Is it only fair that he's held accountable? So, guys, I know I was fired up. I'm from Chicago. I was 15 or 16 when that first tape came out. I remember looking at that tape. I remember seeing people look at that tape, and I'm ashamed as a woman now, older, that I just didn't pay attention to my sisters. And I didn't pay attention to the women that needed to be paid attention to it. And as a result, there are way more women that have made allegations, and that shouldn't have been the case. So leave your comments below. This is Old School Heart. Please be looking out for another video from me. Please show me some love, y'all. Send some love my way. Send some comments my way. And I will talk to you on our next cultural conversation. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.